On you guys, so today I'm bringing guys a brand new sports cards video. In today's video, I do have some data that I do want to analyze to kind of get an understanding of when the sports card market as a whole, when the basketball card market will pick back up, because as we know right now, it has been very slow as of recent. Of course, we did have a huge run up from January to March, so there's some understanding there, but I'm going to kind of try to give you guys a timetable of when to expect the market, to bounce back. But before we get into that, I do want to say that as we know, the market has been very soft, but despite that, our members have been making a lot of money. So our membership group was buying up 2012 Kobe Bryant Select first-year select cards for just around $30 2 weeks ago. They're currently up to around $60 to $70, so more than doubled our money for our members in a span of 2 to 3 weeks. So if you guys would like to join in on the profit, make some money with our Sports Card Invest membership group, click the link down below to sportscardsinvest.com. We recently launched our ultra high-end membership with $10,000+ picks for the really high-end members, and that membership has been doing incredibly well recently despite the slow market. So definitely some big numbers, a lot of money to be made in this market right now with our membership group. So if you would like to join, link is down below to sportscardsinvest.com. But without further ado, we're going to go ahead and hop right into this video. So as we can see here, we are on StockX and we have LeBron's 2003 Topps Chrome pulled up right now. So as you can see right now, the last sale is around $23,000. So here we have a graph of the cards, basically lifetime performance. StockX put in cards in around the end of 2019, so around a year and a half ago, and we're going to kind of analyze, how long it's been taken for, the card to take a jump. So this is kind of the first step of our analysis. So as you guys can see here, it's been seeing great growth, but there is a very important pattern that I noticed. So as we can see here, this is pretty much the beginning of March. It was very steady, maybe dipped a little bit, but it was very steady. And as you can see here, June hit, June 2020, and we saw this card absolutely start to take off. So this card jumped from 6,000 to just around 16,000 with little resistance in the span of this month. After it had been very, flat line for 3 months, all of a sudden it more than doubled in price. So this was around the end of July, and then from August, because it had seen so much growth, we saw it really start to shave off. So from 16, it went down to 10.5, so still better than we started at 6.4, but we saw this huge growth, and then it settled around 50% of what it was originally. So as we can see here, still some good growth, but it did cap off. So in September, basically beginning of September, it was essentially quite stable until December. So as we can see here, it's another 3 months of flatlining. And boom, in December, it really started to jump. And here it went from 9,500 to 33,300 with little resistance. On eBay, one actually sold for upwards of 43,000. So this card essentially quadrupled in the span of, 2 months, call it. So as we can see here, after it quadrupled in the span of around 2 to 3 months, because it may be a little bit more because this was quite stagnant, say 3 months, it tripled or quadrupled. And as we can see here, we have now entered another flatline kind of stage. I know StockX does not have many sales, so it's a little bit tough to kind of gauge this, but going off of my knowledge as well, it has really been flatlining since March 21st. Now, we are currently around a month into the flatline, and if we recall, it's been taking roughly 3 months of the card being steady for the card to pick up. Of course, this is not, a certain pattern that's going to last forever, of course. However, there are a few observations I would like to make, because as we know, cards go in a free fall, because, this market is essentially a herd market, I like to call it. So when stuff is doing well, everybody is trying to invest. Everyone's throwing their money in, and not many people are selling. So when a card is going up, it goes up steeply. This is a very volatile market. And then when a card goes down, it goes down steeply, because when people start to see a card go down, they begin to sell it. So it's very typical to kind of be aware of this. But from our past experiences, the best times to buy are always when the market dips. So as we can see here, it jumped from 2,000 to 6,000, dipped to around 4,700. This jumped back up to 16,000, dipped back down to 10, which was a great buying place. And boom, it took off. And now we're reaching a new threshold. But every time it goes up and retreats, it's still better than it was prior to it going up, if that makes sense. So as we can see here, 9,000, it went to 40,000 essentially, and then it went back down to 20, but still a lot better than 9,000. So it keeps reaching new benchmarks. And right now it's been seeming to really be flatlining. So what that means is when it's flatlining, it means that demand is meeting supply again. So essentially, when the card market is going down, or when a market for LeBron's Topps Chrome is going down, essentially supply is greater than demand. And when it starts to flatline, it means that demand is meeting supply again. And essentially why that happens is because people who are selling the card are, you know, of course, wanting to sell the card. Now, people who are buying the card for these new prices, say someone who bought this for $24,000 on April 4th, they're likely not looking to sell it very soon. They're likely going to wait until it reaches at least $30K, say, to sell, right? So they're not going to sell it right now, and that means the current supply is going down, because it's going in, these cards right now that are being transacted are going into the hands of someone who is wanting to hold it, which means that they will not be selling it, which means that supply naturally goes down. So even if demand stays the same, if demand stays stagnant, the prices are still going to go up. And that's why we see the market recover such consistently. Every time the market is down for a certain amount of time, it takes a certain amount of time for the cards to get into the people's hands who are willing to hold it. And the best way for it to go up is if the people right now who are buying are willing to hold long term. Because if they're willing to hold long term, there's essentially not going to be much supply on the market. Even though the card's population may be 2,000, the current people willing to sell right now may be 50. The current people willing to sell in a month may be 40, and the supply continues to go down, and then the price goes up, and when the price goes up, then the supply continues to go up because more people are willing to sell. So this phenomenon has kind of made it a very easy to predict market, to where stuff is fairly stagnant for 3 months, it sees a big increase, it's stagnant again for 3 months, it sees a big increase, and then it goes down back, it's stagnant again, and then it sees a big increase, and then it retrieves, and we're currently in the retrieval period, and it's flattening out essentially, which is a great sign. So when the card starts to flatten out is when you start to see hope, and is usually the best time to get in is when the card is really flattening out. It's essentially, if you were to buy it here, it would be better if you were to buy it right here when it had bottomed out, and that's where I think we are right now at 23,000. I think this card is bottomed out, and this goes the same, you know, with a bunch of different cards, right? For example, Tim Duncan's Topps Chrome. I think this is an incredible buy right now. This is very similar. It's around 2,000 right now, and, you know, very similar. Of course, there's not as many sales on this, but, you know, as we can see here, quite flat for 3 months, sees a big increase, and then it goes up again. So it's quite stagnant, goes up, and then it retrieves. So this is a very typical cycle in the sports card market, and if you can truly understand this cycle, it is very easy to find out when is a good buying opportunity. And right now, I will tell you, from my opinion, it is a great time to get in, because stuff is flattening out, and it seems to be, whether it's in a month, whether it's in 2 months, eventually demand is going to, you know, shoot past supply as supply continues to go down right now, and prices are going to rise again on a lot of these cards, I feel. So it's just a matter of time. There's also a lot of different factors that go into it, such as right now a lot of money is being poured into 2020 Prizm basketball, a lot of money is being poured into the soccer market, a lot of money is being poured into baseball right now, but it'll eventually go back to basketball, and when it does go back to basketball, you best believe that the LeBrons, the MJs, the Kobes are going to see a big price increase, but I kind of hope that this answered a little bit of your guys' questions. As we can see here, a bunch of money's going into this new Prism, but eventually this money should go back into the GOATs once buyers get a little bit more knowledgeable, to be honest. But thank you guys so much for watching. I hope that this helped you guys out. So a rough timetable in the past has been 3 months for the market flattening before it goes up again. So it's been a month so far. Of course, we do have to stay a little bit patient. It could be less, it could be more. You can never truly predict it. But thank you guys so much for watching this video. Once again, if you would like to join in on the membership program, click the link down below to sportscardsinvest.com. But other than that, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'm out. Peace.